we are officially live, broadcasting only on onedealaway.com/live. This is Money Matters. My name is Nev, and today we're talking crypto. That's right, we're going to be talking a whole lot of crypto. Like, did you know that almost $500,000, actually a little bit more than $500,000, has been moved from an old wallet that hasn't been touched in years? And people think it might belong to Nakamoto. That could be interesting. So we're going to look at that stuff. Of course, you also might have heard that there's this sort of uh, bad taste thing happening between Band and Chainlink, with things kind of rolling back and forth. And I think we're going to be looking at why are people reversing, what's happening, what's going on, what's behind underneath all of that. Then we have news from the SEC chairman as well as from Europe when it comes to the CBDCs with the crypto projects, listing ETFs and all of that stuff. So if you're interested in all of those things, I suggest you stay tuned in for that stuff. We're going to be looking at what are people doing with their crypto. Are they spending? Are they saving? What are they doing, and how are they spending it if they're spending it? So we're going to be taking a look at that component as well. And we have some information about Ethereum and the social volume, and what does that actually mean for us who are potentially bullish on the project. And of course, we do have a market update as well as what has happened with KuCoin hack. So a lot of things to talk about. Stay tuned. Let's do this. And good morning, happy Sunday to you. I hope you're doing excellently. I am super excited to be here. My sincere apologies for running behind. I do want to welcome everybody watching this live on onedealaway.com/live. Good morning and welcome again. My sincere apologies for running behind this morning. I am on time, on my own version of time. There were things that sort of are developing and an ongoing in my personal/professional life that I had to attend to, and I'm still receiving messages. So I'm actually sitting on my phone so that it's not buzzing and vibrating and disrupting everybody here. So I'm actually putting it underneath me. I know it's not healthy. I know, I understand. I just we got to do the show. We got to do the show with minimum to no interruptions, right? And so I want to get this done, and then I got to jump and deal with the other stuff. And it has to do with the whole, beer overflow stuff that is imploding as we speak. So new developments happening in that realm, and I got to deal with it. And I'm not the only one, right? It's a team effort, but I just got to be there. So that's kind of where we are right now. But enough chitter chatter. I forgot to welcome everybody who's not on onedealaway.com, and I do want to welcome you. Hey, if you're watching this elsewhere, do me a huge favor, smash that like button right now, if nothing else for the fact that I am multitasking or attempting to and failing miserably. And do subscribe, hit the bell button so you get notified every time we go live, which is every single day. Now I say 7 a.m., but sometimes it's 7:05 or 7:15, so it's not like we stick to pretty strict schedule, but every so often life happens and implodes, and so we do what we gotta do, right? So anyways, let's do this. Oh no, here we go. This is what I wanted to do. I'm like, oh no, what happened? Nothing happened. Okay, so here's what's going on in the marketplace. As you can see, Bitcoin has been staying pretty steady at that 10,500 level roughly for days. It's goes a little bit up, a little bit down, but the interesting piece is we had the market kind of start dropping. Bitcoin stay the same. We had the news of President Trump getting basically becoming COVID positive, as they say it, and having to go to the hospital, which by the way, speedy recovery. And the markets have sort of tumbled, and all kinds of crazy stuff happening, and oil and Dow, and like everything is just going bananas. But Bitcoin pretty much like stayed stable. Then we had the KuCoin hack and stuff with money was stolen and all of that, and Bitcoin stayed stable. So it's very interesting and very, very cool. I'm actually kind of enjoying this bit of a stability because it's starting to behave in the way that it was designed. And I know for the investors and stuff, you were like, "Yeah, I want it to go up. I want it to go up," and that's cool and all. But I think the stability is what's going to give it a very strong base for more individuals to get up. Yes, when things are pumping and dumping and stuff, it's exciting and stuff. But one thing that I always keep telling folks is that your investment should never get your heart pumping one way or the other. It should not be a wild roller coaster ride. If you want a wild roller coaster ride, go to a park, or better yet, maybe you want to check out that New Jersey mall that apparently has them, right? Investing, it's supposed to be boring. It's supposed to be where you go, do a little bit of something, set it all up, and then you can go away and not much happens. And it's, accumulates value and it makes money and it protects your wealth, but you don't have to like emotionally like deal with it. Oh my gosh, we're up, we're down, what's going on? So that's the piece of advice that I have learned a long time ago, and the piece of advice that I'm giving you. If your investment is something that is, you got to grab onto the chair and stuff hoping to survive it, you're in speculation, potentially in trading and stuff, and that's not something that I want. I enjoy investing for long term. I don't want to have to go and like deal with it. Like I want it boring. I want to buy something and never have to deal with it ever again. But that is just continues going up in a value, or better yet, pays me dividends or pays me income on an ongoing basis without me having to work. That is the true investment and true passive income. Ethereum is basically flattish as well. It's been right around that 350 mark for days now. Not much happening over there. The rest of the market is predominantly, I see, this is the part that I just don't understand. See, you scroll down and then weird things happen. I like CoinGecko, but I don't like that it's doing this. Okay, if I make it smaller, maybe that's the part of the problem. So okay, I think we might have fixed it. So let's take a look. As you can see, it's not much of excitement over the course of 24 hours. We do have a few projects that have gone up, nothing earth-shattering. Right, Celsius is up 9.8%. Theta is 7.8. QNT is 5.1, and then after that it's Digibyte at like 3.6 and down. So some movement, nothing earth-shattering in that regard. When we go into the negative side, again, nothing too earth-shattering. Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi or YFI or however you call it, the year in finance is down 14.5%. Sushi is down 14.4, which whatever. Sushi just needs to go away. Sushi is good only on the day one, and then after that you don't want it because you might get something. You know what I mean? You might get sick, so you don't want it. XXP -9. Ocean down 6.6. Leo down 5.3. So again, mostly flat market on the 24-hour period. Let's take a look on the 7-day. Now 7-day, Celsius has performed incredibly well at 41% over the course of 7 days. I think that's fantastic. That's fabulous. Congrats if you are holding Celsius. Amplifort is the second winner at 26.5%. Nest 25%. AR 23. OMG at 18, and it kind of goes down. Zilliqa is at 15.8, and my understanding is Zilliqa is putting some new stuff kind of coming out, so that should be potentially positive for the network, for the coin as well. Wi-Fi is doing the worst and the biggest losers of 7 days. It's down 42.8%, and it's trading now at $18,079. So that's in the second worst is sushi, but again, I've already told you how I feel about the whole thing. I'm not even looking at that. But so Wi-Fi has been up at like 43,000 and stuff. Now it's down to 18,000. We'll see how it's going to go, but that is a very interesting sort of shift that has happened. So we're seeing these potentially volatile movements within the altcoin market, but the more of the, I don't want to call them stable coins because stable coins are stable coins, but the older and more developed currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to be sitting pretty boringly out there doing not much of anything, which is personally just fine by me. I if it goes down a little bit, I'd like to increase my positions, and if it goes up, that's fine. And if it sits there, well, at least I know that it's becoming much less volatile and sort of calming down and becoming this much more reliable source of storage of wealth, which is what it was designed to do. Yuma is the second, or Yuma, I don't know how you say it, is the second one that is, or the third one down in the losers at negative 27.3% over the course of 7 days. And Uniswap is also down 22.4% over the course of 7 days, trading at $3.78. I remember the days when Uni was at $8, $9, whatever. But that was, it pumped up and now it's coming down. And of course, there's a lot of reasons why all of this stuff is happening. A little bit of fear, or a lot of bit of a fear and uncertainty probably has to do with, people needing maybe to close positions, or, wanting to get some cash out, get into the stable coins, get into the dollars because those are the things that are rising and stuff. So we'll see how it all plays out. I don't have a crystal ball, y'all. So let's take a look at what's going on. So that KuCoin has been basically hacked, and we have news that basically the suspect has been found and $204 million has been recovered. Thanks, Mom. On September 25th, 2020, the crypto community found out that the KuCoin exchange was hacked. KuCoin revealed it was working with the law enforcement and a number of blockchain projects to remedy this situation. After a thorough investigation, we have found a suspect of the KuCoin security incident with substantial proof at hand. Law enforcement officials and police are officially involved to take action, and they are basically putting even more assets under control. Suspicious address, bringing a total value of $204 million since October 1. They, of course, thanked all of the exchanges and the projects that have worked with them to help them with this piece. And it's very, very cool to be able to see that while, we're all working on our individual projects or investing in our own individual projects or whatever, right? Like we have the favorites, as they say, and the less favorites, and the things that we like or don't like or believe in more or less. It was very cool that the community came together. They helped them, they assisted, they worked with the police, and I think this is amazing. And as we see some of this stuff, and we see the speed at which folks are able to not just respond, but actually reverse things and turn it around, that is going to actually make cryptocurrencies and the whole community and the whole asset class that much safer and bring more people to it. So as far as I see it, bullish news. So far, two bullish news. One is the fact that Bitcoin is doing really, really well and staying pretty darn stable, and the volatility is almost non-existent. So that's one. And two, that community is coming together and we're able to catch folks when they go and try to do weird and scammy stuff, and that is exciting to me, probably because I don't like the whole scammy or the hacky or that kind of stuff. So if you are good with computers, do something good with it. Don't destroy stuff. Use your powers for good. Come on, folks, let's work on it. All right. So another news that we have, Ethereum social volume. Now, of course, Ethereum social volume is something that is basically be tracked of, like, how much are people talking about Ethereum and how much is it mentioned, and is it sort of popular or not popular, kind of like when we go out there and do Google searches, right, and see like, okay, what's trending right now, what are people asking, what do people want to know. And sometimes that can actually help us understand of what could potentially come down the line, or where the price could be moving in, and so on. Well, we do have news that is on the surface looking bearish, but in my humble opinion is very bullish. And that is the fact that Ethereum social volume is going down and it's approaching a 6-month low. The social volume metric determines the amount of mentions on certain keywords on social media such as Telegram, Reddit, Twitter, Discord, and others. Sentiment collects these text documents with the help of its data scraper and then makes queries of the cryptocurrency in question on its NoSQL database. And of course, this is kind of what it looked like, right? And you can see right over here, we don't have the dates, but we can kind of see that here is really high volume and then it kind of starting to die down. And we see that potentially these high volumes are seeing the price kind of go up. And if we had more data, I could probably would do a better analysis, but we don't. So I can just guess and speculate over here. With the Uniswap airdrop and new DeFi rug pulls, meaning, they go out there and kind of scam folks, right? A part that I said I don't really enjoy it. Capturing the attention of the cryptocurrency community, ETH seemingly slipped under the radar. Scalability is still the biggest pain point for Ethereum network. ETH is currently down 29.14% from its local top of $488 that was reached on September 1. And right now it's right about 350, and it's been about 350 for forever, right? It drops down to like 340, comes back to 360. So right around 350, it keeps flirting with 350. And the data indicates that such period subdued interest is leading in the leading cryptocurrency typically mark local bottoms. So this is one of those things that they're saying is the positive as far as they're concerned, but there's more positive as far as I believe. One of those things is that when you see an investment vehicle, whatever that may be, whether it's gold, crypto, stocks, or whatever, when it does that coiling up, as they call it, it trades sideways, it's pretty boring and stuff. It's known as coiling up. It basically is almost getting ready for a major big move. So it kind of like, sits there and it sort of like basically traps all this energy. And I know that sounds really, really silly, but I'm just looking at it from the historical components of what happens. And then it just sort of shoots up. And sometimes it shoots up, sometimes it shoots down. It just depends on the sentiment of where things are going. But I think, with these things, especially with both Ethereum and Bitcoin, because all of that stuff is, Bitcoin is seen as a store of value, and I think more and more people are really liking it and jumping into it. We're seeing CEOs, we're seeing companies, we're seeing large institutional investors get into it, and all of that stuff is really, really bullish. And now you have that combined with this sort of coiling up. It makes it very, very bullish, and it makes me believe that the next move is going to go, not straight on up, but it's going to go up. And then we're going to see a little bit of sideways action and then up and sideways action. So it's going to be almost like steps, so to speak. For Ethereum, it's a little bit different because while we do see some of the institutional investors kind of go into it and dabble and so on. So I think because of the DeFi and the projects being built and more things, being used and needed, especially if the 2.0 scalability and the next testing and that kind of stuff, and we get the mainnet, they can figure that stuff out, which I believe that they can, and I believe that they will. It's just a matter of time, and it's okay. Sometimes things take a while. You build something and it's not working. You got to start from scratch and it's not working. So it takes a little while to kind of get to that point of, okay, we have something solid that is working. Now it's ready. While we're ready to kind of go and do something different. So, and the Ethereum is very much a utility token where you need it in order to pay for that stuff, to pay for transactions, to launch the things, to do the yield farming, to, go and interact with smart contracts, to be able to get stuff on chain, off chain, so it's very much used, and I think it will definitely continue to sort of rise on up and improve in it. And right now it's just doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is basically coiling up. And like I said, to me, that's incredibly, incredibly bullish thing for Bitcoin and for Ethereum as well. Now, talking about Ethereum and Bitcoin, and what folks are doing with it. Many of us are hodling, right? You buy it, you hold it, it sits in some sort of address somewhere, and or wallet, right, which is the address, and you do nothing with it, right? Like, you just sits there and accumulates. Some of us go out there and we deploy it into the different DeFi projects that maybe we stake it, for example, which is sort of like that savings account where you can go out and get a little bit more of it. Maybe we go and yield farm, where we try to provide liquidity, or we borrow money and we try to move it around and kind of play around with it. Maybe we trade it stuff, but some people actually spend it. And there was a report yesterday, day before yesterday, sorry, days are running together, but recently, that I read, that were like, nobody uses cryptocurrencies. Like, you can't do anything with it. You can't, pay much of anything. And that is absolutely incorrect. You can. There are goods and services that you can purchase with cryptocurrencies, including education, right? OneDealAway.com is one of the examples. So I'm one of the examples where you can get education in exchange for your crypto. You don't have to pay in US dollars or euro. We actually accept a wide range of payment methods. Same thing is, for example, that I invest in properties. You don't have to pay in US dollar. You can actually pay in many other ways, things that I will accept, cryptocurrencies including into that mix. So you can actually rent the place from me using crypto. It's perfectly fine. I will accept it. Now, I'm not going to accept like everything. There are certain things that I will or will not accept. Same thing with the fiat. You don't want to pay in US dollar? Cool. I'll accept euro, right? Like, I'm not going to accept every fiat, but there are certain fiat that I will accept. So there are different things. And here is the new report that tells us that, hey, 70% of folks that actually are in crypto are spending it for goods and services. And they basically interviewed 35,000 cryptocurrency investors and basically said, hey, how are you using this stuff? What are you doing? And 70% of participants said that they have used it to make purchases such as food, clothing, even education. And so here is kind of how it broke down. This is very, very cool. So you can see that just shy of 11% went towards food, 10.92%. And clothing and apparel was at the second, sort of the need based, at 8.4. Housing, 5% of people are actually paying rent, right, or buying homes potentially with using cryptocurrencies. 5% goes towards transportation. Personal care, 4.2. Education, 8.4%. 12.6% is going towards entertainment. There's like 17%, or just 16.8% going for other, right? And then interestingly enough, 77% are using crypto to get more crypto, which makes the sense, right? Which makes a lot of sense. So this was a really interesting thing for me. Now, what are they spending and how much are they spending? And this was an interesting kind of chart right over here, that only 14.5% didn't spend any crypto, right? Which is the same number, consequently enough, of people who have spent between $1 and $100, right? So that's an interesting piece. So we can assume that about 30% either spend nothing, and or spend, so they spend between nothing and $100. Now, curiously enough, and that's less than 30%. So you have another 27% that spent between $100 and $1,000, right? And then 32% spent between $1,000 and $10,000. And then, of course, there are some that spend more, but those numbers are really, really small. So if you were to take the between $1 all the way up to $10,000, we're looking at what? 30, 60, 75%, right? Something like that. Okay, it's not 75, but it's about 70% plus minus that have spent. All right, so there we go. We have it right over here. Most people have expressed a willingness to keep spending digital assets at 76.1%. 14% said they will hodl, they don't want to spend, and 9% were like, we don't know what we want to do. So this was an interesting piece for me because, like I said, I read recently that they were like, nobody buys this stuff. Nobody is, using it. It's not being used as the way that it's meant to. And we actually have a report that says people are using it. People are using it as a form of payment, right? Of course, I think the Bitcoin is mostly used for hodling, but just like gold, for example. Most people don't use their gold bars or gold coins to make purchases, although when they need to, they might, right? They might go and sell it, get the cash and pay in cash, or they might pay in gold if the merchant or the government entity or whatever, whomever they're trying to pay, basically, will accept that as a form of payment, right? So that makes sense as well. Now, we're going to switch over a little bit and move on to Europe and some regulators and some news about regulations and those kinds of things. So Estonia, as you know, Estonia has been pretty good, pretty solid on the whole, like, I want to get into, we want to get into technology, we want to get into cryptos, we want to do all of that stuff. And so Estonia is basically starting their own digital currency research. Estonian Central Bank has become the latest European institution to begin research into the possible use of central bank digital currency. Project will explore how to develop a scalable and cryptographically secure platform that meets the central bank's digital money requirements of speed, security, privacy, and resilience. The Estonian CBDC would allow citizens and business to use the CBDC through a commercial bank account. The central bank said it would directly guarantee the value of the CBDC, making it similar to cash in a sense. Now, this is an interesting thing because they're following what's going on with the euro, which we're going to take a look in just a moment. So stay tuned for that. European Central Bank indicated it would release a report encompassing the potential benefit and drawback of the digital euro in September. It was finally released in October, and of course, we're going to take a look at that. Now, this is interestingly enough because as they released it, it's the same date that the Estonian Central Bank announced that they are going to do their own research project, which is kind of cool and interesting if you think about it, right? The Estonian Central Bank cited rapid development of financial services and technology as a catalyst of not just consumers, but why they need to go out there and meet it. 99%. Now, this is the part that is very interesting, right? So I told you that they are very, very technologically progressive, let's put it that way, and they want to leverage technology. So 99% of Estonia's public service are available online. This is crazy. So payment options, health information, voting system, digital identity services, and a host of other things. And they're basically saying that the research project will explore whether a solution can be developed on the existing KSI blockchain technology that powers Estonia's e-government system. This will also explore the possibility of new payment solution that would plug into existing electronic ID and other e-government solutions. So they're basically, going all digital, y'all. I mean, they have moved a lot of the stuff. Their government, all of these things are digital and already on the blockchain. And they're basically saying, well, can we attach the money to this thing? So now we're just going to have one big old thing. And does it even make sense from simplicity, from usability, from interoperability, from communication, and security, of course, and speed, right? So they're going to do a study, and they're saying it's going to be about 2 year worth of a study for them to decide of what they're doing, what they're not doing, and how are they going to move into this direction. Now, of course, I've also said that the same day that they have announced that they're going to be doing this stuff, European Central Bank is basically releasing the documents of saying, hey, we've done some study and stuff, so let's go and take a look at the news of what they are talking about here. So here it is. We got the stuff from ECB, and they basically were, talking about wanting to go out. And here's the part. They're saying that they haven't been too vocal. And while that is true, Christine Lagarde has been fairly vocal to say we have got to explore this stuff. We have to understand this thing. Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Where do we go with this stuff? So they basically had gone out and released a 50-page report from Eurosystem high-level task force on central bank digital currency. And I have not read this report fully. I plan on doing it because I didn't have time to do it this morning, but I plan on doing it later on today. So I do encourage you, if you want to do this, you can definitely look it up, or better yet, I can copy and paste this into the chat. Here we go. All right, so there you go. It's in the chat. You have the full link of where you can find stuff, including where you can find the report, so you can actually read it right there. But anyways, so they're saying digital euro not coming anytime soon. Well, not anytime soon. Like, it's not going to happen in 2020. It's probably not even going to happen in 2021. But after that, potentially could. We'll see how quickly they can get moving, right? So what they're saying, Christine Lagarde, who is the president of ECB, noted Europe has seen a rise in demand of digital option for spending, saving, and investing. This means making sure the euro is fit for the digital age. We should be prepared to issue a digital euro should the need arise. So it looks like they're going to basically build it, get ready, and see, like, do we need it? Do we not need it? How are we going to do this stuff? And I think that they will discover we need it. They will be rolling this puppy out. Don't you worry about that. That is, I am putting my professional, face on the camera out there in the public to record it for forever until YouTube takes it down. But it's things are going to change. Things are going to change in drastic ways, and the future looks amazing. And potentially kind of scary. Of course, we don't know everything is going to happen, but there's a lot of amazing things. CBDCs can either be centralized with all transactions recorded in the central bank ledger, or feature some decentralization of responsibilities to users and or supervised intermediaries. However, it is stressed the fact that the back-end infrastructure would be controlled by the bank. This is an interesting thing that they're saying, like, do we want to do some decentralization here, fully centralized? We don't really know what we want to do. But, whatever we end up doing, the back-end infrastructure of the whole thing, that has to live with the bank. We're not going to let control over that. But some of the other pieces, we're willing to let it go, whether it's individuals or the intermediaries. Is it going to be individuals? I don't know. They might. Who knows? But I do see intermediaries being potentially something else, kind of like what we have right now. You have a central bank, right? And the central bank, what does central bank have? Well, central bank has their banks, right? The larger banks then give stuff to the smaller banks. Then they're called institutional banks. Then you go to the community banks or whatever, right? The regular old banks that you and I interact with, right? So I could see with the digital piece that says, well, of course, we're going to own the back end. And then because we don't want to destroy completely all of the banks, we don't want them to revolt against all of this stuff, we're going to give them this intermediary decentralization component where they can do a lot of different things and so on. We don't have to be involved with that piece. You can be involved with that stuff. And then, of course, the users will then use the banks in order to access that stuff. So it could be multi-layer thing, or they could just say, certain things are decentralized and it's just, you're on your own, man. You're on your own. Your keys, your wealth, do as you wish. Forget about us. We'll see how it rolls out. They will be accepting comments on report starting as of October 12th. So there you go. If you have an opinion and you want to talk to them about it, well, you have a few days to prepare your opinion and then share it with them. Now, the interesting piece, when we hop over the pond, as they say, and come to the United States, we do have SEC Chairman Jay Clayton, who is backing innovation in crypto. Here's the interesting piece. For forever, SEC Chief has been basically, very much about, we got to clamp down on all of this stuff. But recently, he's actually been, while he's been going after the projects and stuff, because I think he's just wanting to make sure that the laws and regulations are being followed, right? The MEX, for example, being the most recent and most public one to date. But I think overall he's saying, look, I understand this whole stuff. I am positive when it comes to tokenized exchange traded fund, ETF. He said that the regulators are open to it, but he passed the onus to the crypto community to create efficient way to tokenize the ETF product. He would be open to facilitate it if crypto community has a strong proposition. So it's one of those things that it's kind of weird to saying like, well, I'll support you, but you got to do all of the stuff. What I would have enjoyed more from him is to say, like, I do think it's cool. I think we need to work together to come up with the way, because it's sort of silly that says, well, we're going to regulate you, but we don't want to work anything. You got to guess what we want and then build according to it. Well, the better way would be to say, hey, you have great ideas and businesses and have stumbled upon this or developed, this amazing technology. We want to make sure that there's regulations. Can we all get together and come up with sort of these guidelines, best practices, that kind of stuff that makes it easy for folks to actually comply with the regulation, as opposed to it's very obscure, very convoluted, very complicated. You don't even understand it, so you can't provide the guidelines. The IRS is making things up as they go, and that doesn't make sense. And so it's making it very, very impossible for the entrepreneurs and for the businesses to actually comply. Not that they don't want to, but you're making it impossible to do it. Can't we just work together and make sure that here's the thing, right? Here's your little, 20-page book. Read it. That's what you need to do. When we talk about smart contracts, for example, there are best practices for smart contracts. Here are the things that if you want to be listed and all of that stuff, you got to follow these guidelines. You can, work around this stuff and add your things and put your stuff in, but there are certain guidelines that you have to follow. Well, same should be for the regulation, and should be simple enough to use, not to have to hire 17 regulators and 50 lobbyists and 20, attorneys from the top 5 firms, and then hire like all the accountants that exist out there just to get you figure out like how the heck do we even do this stuff, right? So that's one piece that I wish that the US and all of the regulation stuff would do. Now, the SEC has turned down all previous proposals for Bitcoin ETF, but the SEC Commissioner Hester Pierce, also popular as the Crypto Mom, has been vocal supporter of Bitcoin ETF. And so we'll see how it's going to work out. However, there are certain areas that are basically saying, you know what, forget it. We're not even going to go into the, into dealing with the U.S. We're just going to go and list elsewhere. So they are basically going out to places like Brazil, for example, and then listing from there. That's an interesting thing that I found very, very cool and very interesting. So here we go. A couple more things that were really interesting, and that is the band versus Chainlink. Which one and what's going on there? Well, here we go. Let's take a look. Band and Chainlink are both building infrastructure that enables interoperability of smart contracts and are two leading Oracle projects. Basically, creating ability to do stuff on-chain and off-chain and connect the two, sort of like a digital with the real world back and forth. Of late, however, every time a DeFi protocol has announced its partnership with Band, they have reversed their decision later with an announcement that they have opted to partner with Chainlink instead, explicitly stating Chainlink is the preferred Oracle solution. So what is going on? What is going on? We don't really know, but it is really interesting. Now, here is the piece. Of the 285 partnerships Chainlink has announced, 156 have been in the 2020 year alone. Band, in comparison, has only captured 2% of the market. Here's the development activity of the chart. The pink one is Chainlink, right? And you can kind of see that it's like down here, like nothing, and then boom, just kind of went on up. And then you can see Band is this sort of like a purplish line, and you can see that it was much higher, and then it kind of dropped and went up, and then it dropped and went up and it dropped, and then it kind of met the previous high, and then it dropped, and it just kind of keeps going down. So this is interesting, and I don't know why it's happening, but it is really, really interesting. Is it possible that there's better deals that are being offered to the partnerships? I don't know. But one of the things that it's that's a lot of it is kind of they're talking about underlying technology. Band protocol operates on the Cosmos network. Chainlink has been tied to the ETH-based dApps. So maybe that's one of the reasons, but it shouldn't be because I guess Cosmos can be used across multiple blockchains, and Chainlink is saying they're blockchain agnostic, but again they're tied to the ETH. So if you know the answer to my question that I want to know, hey, let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat. I really, really, really want to know. Sorry about that. And final news, final news. $500,000 have been moved from an old wallet that hadn't been touched in years. And the question is it Satoshi? Here we go. Where is it going? A Bitcoin address just facilitated its first transaction in 10 years. The wallet came to life on October 1st as its owner moved 50 BTC, currently valued at about $528,000. Wallet's only other transaction is from 2010 when it received the 50 BTC on May 25th, 2010 from Coinbase newly generated coin. Now, Coinbase is basically not the Coinbase, the exchange stuff that we're all familiar with. Coinbase is basically that first sort of mining reward that comes out when you originally roll the puppy out. Accordingly, mining reward in 2010 were still in their initial stage at 50 BTC per block. BTC is believed to be sent to the crypto exchange Bitfinex. Any transfer of early stage Bitcoin generates speculative chatter. Blockchain analysts estimate Nakamoto mined 1 million BTC and stating with the first 50 BTC reward Genesis block on January 3rd, 2009. The recent transfer is not the first Satoshi era Bitcoin to move wallets this year. We have had stuff before that has happened, and it's interesting that it's happening now. Chainalysis reported that some of the funds appear to have made their way to cryptocurrency Mixer. Mixers are designed to combine cryptocurrency from various locations in an effort to obscure trails and make it more difficult to trace the origin of the funds. Bitcoin core developer Jimmy Song dismissed the speculation, saying, not Nakamoto. So, let me know what you think. Do you think this is Satoshi? Do you not think this is Satoshi? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments. And do me a huge favor as you do that. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Hit the bell button so that we can connect tomorrow. For those of you watching live, we are going into Q&A. For everybody else, thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Until then, stay forever money blessed. And do remember, you are only one deal away.